in terms of income inequality, we're going to create a lot of jobs. You know, right now, we have a false 5.4, 5.3, 5.6. Every month is different. It is such a phony number because when people look and look and look, and then they give up looking for a job, they're taken off the roll, so the number isn't reflective. I've seen numbers of 24%. I actually saw a number of 42% unemployment.
All right, well, I don't know where he saw that, but anyway, it may be possible. Donald Trump, his tax plan. Joining us now is Daniel Henninger, Deputy Editorial Page Director of the Wall Street Journal, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Fox News contributor. Hello, Daniel.
Hi there, Steve.
Good to talk to you. Okay, so Donald Trump today, you know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of lower income people don't pay any federal income tax, but his plan would decrease the top rate to 25%, and he says an additional 31 million who do pay taxes now in the middle class would not pay federal income taxes. Corporate rate goes down to 15%. Deductions go by the boards depending on your level of income. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, that 42% unemployment number I would call an outlier, as we say. But this tax plan of his is not an outlier, at least not within Republican politics. And it's fascinating since Donald Trump is running as the consummate outsider. But this tax plan of his is very much of a piece with that proposed by Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Chris Christie. And I think it's a very positive thing that the party, including Donald Trump, is coming together around the idea of really significant cuts in personal rates down to around 25% top rate or below. Rand Paul, I think, has his flat rate at 14.5. Lowering the tax on capital gains, they all do that. It would be a tremendous boost to economic activity, and indeed lowering the corporate tax rate, which most people in business say would do more, as much as anything, to create jobs in this country. And that, incidentally, is something that Barack Obama could have had at any point in his presidency, but never did it. And now here we've got Donald Trump joining the band, and I think it's going to give a real boost to the idea of finally achieving tax reform in this country.
All right, fair enough. Now let's talk about the latest poll that's out today, NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, or we could reverse it for your sake, Wall Street Journal, NBC News, and say that Donald Trump, I mean, and what amazes me is they keep saying that Trump has a 1-point lead. It's a tie. I mean, 21-20, it's a tie with Carson and Carly and Rubio are in tied for third, and Bush is still behind that pack. What do you make of the new poll today?
Well, I'll tell you, it is intriguing. The tax plan makes it sort of suggest that Trump is now trying to get serious about his candidacy. But I thought that those polls were very troublesome for Donald Trump. I mean, winning in politics is always about holding on to your base and then winning at the margin, adding people 4 or 5%, moving upward. He, I think, may have hit the top around 30% or 33% and has been coming down since then. That means his base is eroding. And some of it's obviously migrating to people like Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina. And the question is, has Trump hit the top? Is there any way for him to get back and push those numbers upward? And you know, Steve, I'm doubtful. I'm beginning to think that maybe Trump has, as the saying goes, peaked, because those numbers, that's quite a drop, 8%, 8 points after that debate.
You know, the numbers certainly have come down from the 30s to the 20s. But let me ask you. Still in all, it's Trump, it's Carson, it's Carly with Rubio in there. Granted, you know, Boehner just left, or he's leaving, and he took his parting shots, of course, which he took while he was, you know, even before yesterday, talking about the dissatisfied conservative wing of his party and their false prophets, etc. And you know, he doubled down on calling Ted Cruz the name, whatever it was he called him. Is that the reason why Trump and Carly and Ben Carson are doing so well? Because the Republican Party are fed up with Boehner and McConnell?
I think that's part of it, Steve. I wrote a column at least a year and a half ago suggesting that what the House and the Senate needed was a party spokesman who could speak up on behalf of conservative ideas. And that idea was rejected in Washington. But McConnell and Boehner, and basically I like both of those guys. But the fact is that they are process politicians, and they're bunkered down in Washington. And for years throughout the Obama presidency, there has been no one speaking up in a big public way for conservative ideas. And I think that drove a lot of Republican voters absolutely crazy.
Yep.
And
well, the landslide, you know, now sorry to interrupt, the landslide victory last November. For what? When McConnell taking over for Reid. For what?
Right. Well, they have a problem, and that is that the Founding Fathers created a presidential veto, and there's no question that if they, you know, tried to pass things in the House, push it through the Senate, Obama would veto it, and they would not be able to override those vetoes.
But at least they promised they would do that and at least put them on record. Then Hillary or whomever would have to say how they would differ from that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, right. And I think it's possible that Boehner resigning like this is going to have a positive effect on the mood of the Republicans. There obviously was going to have to be a point out there where all of these voters would have to get serious about thinking about an individual who could actually defeat Hillary Clinton as they move forward into the primaries early next year. And I think this transition in the House is going to calm down some of the rebels.
Well, let me ask you, McCarthy says he is running. He just made that announcement today.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Do you believe he will get the enough votes?
I think
to
so.
Win? Yeah.
You know, Kevin McCarthy has good relations with a lot of the 40 or so conservatives who were upset with Boehner. It got to be personal at the end.
And they'll put a lot of you know, Tea Party type people in other positions probably.
I think he'll incorporate them.
Listen, great to talk to you, Daniel. We didn't get to your great piece on the Pope, but I'm
He'll
sorry,
be back.
but it's on the web, but certainly at thewallstreetjournal.com, and everybody can check it out. Thank you, sir.
All right, good to talk to you.
All right, folks, we're coming back with the Malzberg panel. Don't miss it.